Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the beginning series to Managersim football management game. And we'll now go back to see how Elfsborg are doing. We have now reached the end of the season, so we have now gone at least 2 months in advance. So this is just an update on how the side's getting on and what's going to happen for the future. So let's click the right screen. There we go. Here's the side. Currently, the financial position is very healthy. We've got 68 million in the bank. The youth academy has now gone up to ninth. And what have we done about the players and everything like that? A lot of what's been going on the last couple of weeks is a lot of decent youth players have come into the side, which made the side actually very big now. We've got over 40 players, so I have to start getting rid of some players and make some tough choices, like I have to get rid of some really good youngsters. Well, not really good, decent youngsters, and keep the real good ones. The good news is the league position. Our aim this season was to not get relegated or stay in the bottom zones, but to actually finish, if we could, into Europe. And the great news is that we actually made it. We finished 6th in the end this season with a good recent form. We made it by goal difference, so we will be into the Toto Cup next season. So that's a good aim for next season, is to build that side to make it quite good. Our match form was quite decent in the end. We did have the odd defeat, but we turned things around almost certainly. If we look at how the fixtures ended up for the end of the season, as you can see there, the league, the win against Malmo, then we won again and again, and then drew, lost. So we had 5 wins to start off with, and then towards the end of the season we drew against Hammarby, we drew against Honorbro. Remember the last couple of games were going to be very tough against all opposition higher than us, and we beat Treyberg, and that just made us get into, I think the best win was this 4-0 win. That made us just get into Europe, which was great. So we got that for next season. But the problem is we've got a lot of players around. As you can see, the squad's 44, 45 players. We are getting rid of some on free transfers. There's a lot of players now on transfer list. Some I didn't really want to transfer list, but I had no choice because I was getting a lot of board warnings. And when you keep getting board warnings by unhappy players, the board then starts to lose patience with you, no matter how good you are actually doing. Our star striker Weinblum is still around. He's still with us, but he's actually now had a bid from a rival Swedish side. Normally, I would not go for a rival Swedish side bidding for him, but we need to get rid of him because he's not signing any new contracts, and he soon will be going for. Hopefully, soon be going for 4 million. Our other striker, who was the only non-Swedish player for a long time, is actually going to be sold to Obelik. And they're in Serbia. I haven't been checking for the last few days because I've been very busy in real life, so the mailbox was massive, so we wouldn't go through in there. But I also had a board message saying the squad size was too big, hence why I had to start trying to free transfer some players. But as you can see, the squad is still a very good squad. A lot of really good youngsters in there who I'm trying to give them games. And overall, I'm also playing a lot of reserve games at the moment because we're now in the end of the season, which a lot of friendlies now come in. So what you need to do at the end of the season, if you've got no friendlies planned, start planning friendlies against maybe various human managed sides, and hopefully they will accept your friendly request home and away. You can then decide how to play that game in penalty shootout or anything like that. You can also, if you want, attempt to play some computer management led sides, and sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't. But as you can see, we got a very good number of youngsters. If I now go to our main 11, we need to make one quick change there. We'll put Norman in number 15. I'll show you what the main 11 now looks like. This is the side that took us to the end of the season. Valenti is pretty unfit, so I'll need to tell. There's quite a lot of unfit players here, which I'll change around off stream. But this is what the regular 11 would look like. So we'll have George in goal and Banal taking turns. Then we've got the three good, decent defenders there, with some decent defenders here as backups. Then we've got a very strong midfield, with Karlstrom not appearing in all the games now, because his place has been taken by a couple of youngsters to give more games. Belante's a really good midfielder. He's the one that we need to rest when the first team play again. And yeah, overall we've got many good youngsters here, so I'll have to decide what the first team will look like and give the youngsters more of a chance. But as we're in Europe next season, I might have to strengthen the side with some more experienced players. Our attack will change eventually, so there will be more changes, which I'll show you. The next stream will be the beginning of the new season and explain the free transfer market, where all the relegation release players from other clubs are actually placed on the transfer list, and you can find the odd bargain. I'm not looking for players at the moment because my squad size is too big, so my own priority is to get the squad size down to at least under 40 and to stop getting the board warnings, because I've had the first knock in the board warning. They are still very pleased with me, but it was before I think you're the best manager in the world, so that means it's taken a slight knock. There is plenty of money to spend. The wage bill is very low, still on 3,000, so we've had plenty of greens and some reds as well. But yes, I'll have to decide what my first team will look like next season, compare with what free transfers I'll bring in, if I'm going to decide to bring in any more. And hopefully some of these reds, who, remember, these red shield means they're transfer listed, blue means they're loan listed, black, you can just barely see it, means they are youth players. So overall the squad looks very good. It'll be interesting to see what the board aim is for next season. The game will tick around, on game dates, June the 1st is when the new season will start, so all this table will be blanked out to 0. All the player stats from beforehand will go back down to 0, so the only way you can find out how the player did the season before is going to look at their history. So for instance, let's look at this defender here. You go to history and I'll show you the new, so he's played, if we go back to him, what he played this year, 30 games and no goals, 64 point, pretty average season. That will appear here, so 30 games, and then what you see beforehand will be back down to 0 because it's a new season. So who was our top scorer for the season? If you go into statistics, you'll find all the stats there. Oh, when Bloom, the striker that is leaving, he's our top scorer of 12 goals. So it'll be interesting to see what the new season will bring, which striker will take over from him. Probably Ronenberg. He'll probably, 93, yes, he's really good. He'll be our new star striker, and he's staying with us because he signed a new contract for less than money as well, which is good. We go back up to stats again. So you got goals here, games here, sorry, goals here, assists, man in the match. So the most assists was only 3. Don't get really many assists. Normally, defenders and midfielders normally give you more assists. And then man of the matches, Graham had 3 man of matches. He was top with Weinblum. Weinblum had a very good season. It would be sad to see him go, but he wants to leave the club. The other strikers didn't do so well. So Kalmark, the guy who's got a really decent shooting stat of 89, but he's just not scoring goal. I had enough. He's going to go eventually. He's been listed. His scoring record's useless. So 2 goals in just 17 appearances. And the other striker who's leaving, just no goals in 11 appearances, hence why he's going as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the new side will look like next season, because we are going to be into the Toto Cup, but I want to give the 16, 17, 18 year olds more chance to develop. So they need more games, which means some of the regular players might not be appearing so much. And also I need to cut down on the squad strength. I think players like Schrappenberg and Belotti are regulars. They'll stay inside. Karlstrom obviously will be playing a lot. The midfield is pretty settled. The defence is pretty settled, but I could probably get a really good midfield defender in on the free transfer list, but we have to find out. Or I will give some of these youngsters more of a game, like Osterlund, who's our star, one of our star defenders who's been actually injured. He'll obviously feature in the first team, and that's 84 stat will rise. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. So this is the end of this stream. I hope you enjoy it. Please, if you haven't played Managersim, then please do remember the game is free. you can join the game on if I just get rid of on this link here, www.managersim.net, and come and join us. This is in the Italian game world. So this is Donut Donny saying goodbye.